What does China get in return for its investment, so to speak, in the Belt and Road Initiative? Is it that the economic terms of the agreement are sufficient incentive for China, or is it that it ultimately wants to not transform Greece's government, but to be able to exert certain kinds of influence on the geopolitical stage and have Greece vote with it in the UN or what, blah, blah, blah? I mean, what is the logic behind the Belt and Road Initiative from China's point of view?
Yeah, I mentioned to you earlier that the Chinese are very deep and sophisticated thinkers. And whatever you do, don't underestimate the Chinese. And so the Belt and Road Initiative has got multiple goals. Goal number one is geopolitical, because the Chinese anticipated 20 years ago at least that when they became stronger, United States would try to contain them, like the Soviet Union. How do you make sure that countries don't join an American containment policy? Get their economies linked to the Chinese economy. And that's the reason why China trades with far more countries than the United States does. Because if you trade more, you're not going to contain the country, your number one trading partner, because you're shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. Similarly, if you take a country like Laos, okay, it's one of the world's poorest countries. As Obama said, it's the most bombed country in the world in the Vietnam War. Laos today has a fast train, faster than any train in America, one of the poorest countries in the world. Now, if you are Laos, that's a manna from heaven. Can you imagine, will Laos become anti-China after that? They won't. So there's a geopolitical objective. At the same time, after the global financial crisis, the Chinese realized, and this is a very important point that most Americans are not aware of, they always invested in US treasuries, thinking that the investment in US treasuries would give them some leverage over the United States of America. But what the United States did after the global financial crisis was QE, quantitative easing. Quantitative easing destroyed the value of Chinese holdings of US treasuries. They had no more political value at all. This money was not making any money. Why not spend it in the Belt and Road Initiative? And you know what? The Chinese are getting a very decent rate of return of 6 to 7% on that money, more than they're getting from US Treasury bills. And most of their projects seem to be succeeding and doing well. And, most people think that the Chinese are putting countries into debt. There's a paper written by a New York professor, Deborah Brottingham, that points out it's not true. There's no evidence for that. And again, this is a very important point. I hope any American audience will hoist in. Most countries in the world are intelligent countries. Most countries in the world are not stupid countries. If 140 countries decide to join the Belt and Road Initiative, it means that they have made a very intelligent, long-term calculation that this Belt and Road Initiative is going to help me, my people. I will benefit from it, regardless of what the Chinese get from it. So, so when the Chinese launch something like this, and this is a 20, 30, 40-year initiative.